Greetings and salutations, everyone. I do hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to this early morning or middle of the night bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. The merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost you a cent. Click that like button. Takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because all of these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to this early morning, middle of the night bonus upload, shall we? So at the beginning of last week, I shared an experience out of a little area outside of Seattle, Washington, about a homeless encampment, a large homeless encampment, hundreds of people in the woods, deep into the woods. I shared that with you guys. This weekend, I shared an interview with a gentleman who was homeless, living out of his van in California. And now I'm going to share this upload with you guys again. It is one of my favorite interviews. It is two sets of interviews, one right after another that we had done. And just a lot of terrifying information. And I don't mean one of my favorite interviews. Just like it's very interesting to me, because of what it has to deal with, more or less. I don't have a favorite interview or a favorite encounter. It's just one that sticks out if someone were to ask, hey, do you know anything that happens in this area or the homeless? And I'd probably lead them to this one. All right, guys. Tonight I have a subscriber with us. He's from California. Ed, how are you tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking some time out of your evening to come on and share your experiences with us. You've got a lot, actually, and you and I have talked for a while prior to this. You are from California, and there's a lot of stuff that you are comfortable sharing and a lot of stuff you're not comfortable sharing, for reasons that we may get into later on in the show. But this all started for you how long ago?
I'd say about now, it's been, I'm bad with time, but, roughly about 5 years ago.
Okay. Now, when you had these experiences, that when everything started for you, you had really never heard of Dogman. I mean, everybody's heard of Bigfoot and stuff like that, but where you're located in California, Bigfoot isn't really a predominant thing in that area. So yeah. I guess it all started for you when you were looking for a new location for your business. You want to start there for us?
Yes. Me and my pops, we have, it's a building, but there's two different areas to it, but we needed a business because we had some contracts for some UAVs to be built.
Okay.
So, so pretty much, we got this location, and then right away I realized, and then also too on the side, I do like other things, I built race cars for days and sound, I do crazy sound system. So anyway, I keep a lot of stuff around. So pretty much, and then the sensitive stuff we couldn't have people breaking in.
Right.
So I started staying around, and getting, the local, homeless population and, the thieves and, there's a lot of drug problems out here in California. It's, real bad epidemic, bad.
Yeah.
So, so I, always clearing people out of here and stuff, but there was, always these ones that I couldn't catch. They were always too fast, or they were on the roofs jumping off or beating on the buildings, and, they'd, be out there screaming, like somebody was, harming a lady.
Like a woman getting murdered, right?
Yes, exactly. But I would say like 90% that mixed with a little bit of owl and almost a dog to it, like the creepiest sounds. It'd give you goosebumps, literally. So we ran out there, I can't tell you how many times, stupidly now, looking for the ladies, trying to help them, trying to figure out what's going on, or, get somebody,
Right.
And nothing, and then between that and all the other crazy stuff, I'll try to, I'll fast forward it a little bit.
Well, but, there's something that's funny that you had said when we were talking, and there's a lot of people that are familiar with people who are on drugs, and that are just really straight bottom of the barrel people, and you had made a comment to me that you thought that these, the drug addicts, the junkies around your area had superpowers, because they'd be running through this pitch black field at breakneck speeds that, unbelievable, and jumping fences with no issues.
Yeah, 40-foot leaps out of nowhere. You look up, and crazy stuff, or jumping on buildings and jumping off the backs of them without breaking ankles. And, growing up, we, it was always a thing. We always said, they have superpowers, because you could see them get hit by cars, all kinds of crazy stuff happen, and they'll, like nothing happen and go on,
Right.
So when we seen this, it was like first thoughts, but then it was like, okay, no, this is not what it is. And then honestly, there was a few times that I kind of thought I seen something, but I probably did, but I think, subconsciously I did, but consciously, I tried to like block it out,
right?
Because there were definitely a few times that I seen stuff, but when you're chasing stuff in the dark, you're just thinking my mind is playing tricks on me. You're not getting a size perspective when it's in the pitch black. When you really chase something out into the pitch black, there is no size perspective when you're looking out there. You cannot gauge something. It is so easy to run up on something thinking it's a 6 foot tall person or a little taller, and end up having to be a damn, 10 foot tall dogman, honestly.
Right.
Especially when you see him crouched down, because like we said, I had no idea, never knew about one of these things, anything like this. The Bigfoots and stuff, because your one guest, Claudia, she, like I had said before, she's about 40, maybe 45 minutes from where I'm at. So maybe 30, 45 minutes from where I'm at.
Right.
So, it's things I've heard of, but even the Bigfoot, I never doubted it, but I can't say that I never believed or even put any time into it, if that makes sense,
Well, you're busy living your life, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason, no need to at that point, Now I'm versed a little bit on that too, apparently, just from research,
Right.
But,
so fast forward to your you've
seen them the actual first time. That, don't get me wrong, I've chased them in the dark and been, probably 10 foot, 15 foot away from these things more times than I can count. I've gotten out there in the pitch black chasing one, and then next thing you know, you start hearing stuff all around you and realize that that they flanked you and got you out there, or separated you away from the other people, or separated the people. But when we really got a good look, and it was like, because I kind of did before that, but when I could say I was like, okay, we definitely have one hell of a problem, would be one night. It was the girl that I was dating at the time, another buddy of mine, Ramiro, and we were out in front of the hangar out this way, and next thing you know, we heard that screaming, and it was just loud, though. It was really loud. It's usually loud, but it's super loud. And then instantly it was like goosebumps. And it's funny, my bad to rewind real quick. I was just telling him about the amount of people and how much people I'm always removing and all this. And then I was just telling him, and there's some weird shit around too that, you know, I haven't been able to catch, but I've been kind of catching on that, you know, I don't think it's, you know, it's something weird.
Right.
And I swear, just as I was finishing that, all of a sudden we hear screaming. So instantly you get, like, I swear it's like instant goosebumps, because it was like same kind of scream but different this time. And it was like it wanted us, it not even like it wanted us to see it. It showed itself, you know. So pretty much we look over and it's at one end of the runway, and next thing you know, like it's you know, it's going real fast. You know, I'm used to a little more colorful language. I apologize, but it was traveling at a ridiculous high rate of speed that made it look just even that much more bizarre and unbelievable. Okay. Because it just the way it looked, you know, and then the way it was moving and how fast it was going, it made it just, you know, really, I don't know how to just almost an undescribable sight. You know, it pretty much was like it had scoliosis the way it was bent from the back, you know, super bent. Then it's like buff like a hunchback on the shoulders. And then, have you ever seen a dog or like a wolf? Best example, a wolf, how it's moving and they throw their head up. Yeah. And then it elongates real bad. Okay, throw a big old Adam's apple in the mix in there in the middle. Sounds stupid, but this is what we've seen, you know. And I finally, after the last couple years, finally got the stories out of the rest of them, you know, that were there, because nobody would talk about it, just me. You know, everybody else wanted to ignore it. But anyway, so we look over it, we see it. It gets about not almost a quarter of the way down the airstrip. And the airstrip's a little over a mile, you know what I mean? And it throws its head straight back at this guy and starts screaming, but it lets out this continuous scream. And it's literally doing probably, like, it's going to sound stupid. It's really going to sound stupid, you know, but I even verified it with them, you know what I mean? And I've literally taken off on that runway, landed on that runway. I've taken cars down that runway. You know, I built cars for a long time. I know how to gauge speed. You know what I mean? And I've sit back from here, seeing the plane go, I understand speed. This thing had been doing every bit of 80 plus. Okay. And then remind me to tell you about what my friend, because same experience, but what he told me just barely recently that I forgot about and what I didn't see. Because apparently there was more running at that time. I just seen the one. At that same time? Yes. Why don't you throw that in right now? Why don't you just throw that in right now so we're in the same... Yeah, he ended up telling me later on when I talked with him that no, there was two other ones, because right before that we thought we had seen two people in the bushes before that. So he was telling me that the two others were running around that same time. I had to ask him around, I think kind of around that area, but the one was mainly showing itself, because what they'll do is they will, if you see one, most likely, especially if you're out in Southern California, it's worse than I can describe to you. The numbers in Riverside, San Bernardino, Paris, Hemet, all around Riverside County and San Bernardino County, the numbers are, it's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I can't even explain to you. So if you see one, know that there is at least 20 to maybe, 50 more. And I know that sounds ridiculous because you don't hear about this on the East Coast, but my dog man out here, they don't migrate. These other places, you guys get them seasonal, all these different things. They do not migrate. They have a food source. We have wild boar problems, the homeless, which I don't know if you wanted me to get into. Yeah, or not, get into that, because that was... Okay, this was one of the main reasons I reached out. One, I knew the danger that I was in, because I am the type of person, I'm going to figure stuff out and get answers. And I could tell right off, this is some shit, stuff that, it's not really, it's very suppressed. I've looked into a bunch of different things, and because of, jobs and different things I've done, I've confirmed a lot of different things, right? there's information, there's documents, there's stuff out there for all of this stuff. There's not documents, anything out here. This shit is so suppressed.
Yep.
The other thing that was happening is, you know, we have, you know, pretty much the city seeming like they're siphoning these guys from all directions down towards the river bottom. You know, knowing damn well you can't tell me that they're not aware, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, people go missing all the time. You know, once in a while you get a hiker, but the thing is, like we had talked about, Jeff, they are smart. So they're not attacking the houses right here because they know better. But
right.
guess what? Who knows about the homeless? Who knows the numbers? Who knows that Joe Schmo is there, or Joe Blow, you know what I mean, or Susie?
Yeah.
The other thing that's happening that they're saying is the women are disappearing at a higher rate than the men. But they're all disappearing. And you can talk to these people, they'll tell you, you know, the one maintenance guy around here, he likes to go walk down there and drink his beers on his off time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's, you know, friendly, knows some of the people around there, and then they're always telling him, get out of here at night, the monsters are going to come out. And they always tell him about the monsters coming out of the caves.
The homeless people are saying this.
Yes, and they're talking about how they're missing. And then I started telling people, I'd even told my family a minute ago, like, dude, like, something's happening with these homeless around here. And then talking with other people around the neighborhood, even other people around the airport, and even other people that go through the city, you know, we've all noticed the dwindling. You know, honestly, I got threatened. I got told to shut up. I can't use the language I used. I've had my family threatened over this, all kinds of stuff, because I started speaking out. That's one of the, I wanted to get out there and talk with you for many reasons, you know.
Yeah. When you said caves, like there's a lot of caves in that area?
Yes, because there's a lot of cave systems out here because, you know, the makeup of the soil, and we got a lot of like limestone and these different things that, you know, you get a lot of cave formations out here.
Okay.
You know, you come across you got a lot of stuff.
Because I've seen,
you know, there's a lot of caves. And then the other thing is it's a mining town this direction.
Yeah.
And then also there's mines and all that through all of California and all around.
Yeah.
Because of the gold rush.
Yeah, because I've seen like outside of LA, I know there's like some people.
Oh, and it's way bigger than LA County.
Right. But I know like outside of LA, there's like a lot of like old mining towns and caves and stuff like that. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Didn't mean to cut you off.
All these drainage ditches and sewers and stuff. I've tracked these things to the sewers, the drainage ditches, all over. The pictures I had sent you from the one, I had tracked them off the area and off into the areas. You know, don't get me wrong, there was young present, and you'll see them in the pictures. So, you know, like with anything, you're not going to go approach a bear cub. You're not going to go, you know, approach any cats, you know, like no kittens, nothing, you know, you leave that kind of stuff alone and you keep your distance, you know.
Yeah,
especially these things, they're territorial. That's the whole reason that this happened was, you know, we had all this aggressive behavior and stuff banging, like sketchy stuff all the time. But that's why, because pretty much they were inhabiting this area and it was pretty desolate and people didn't come around. And then literally the tops of the roofs, if you look at the trees, there's big old game trails that go all the way along. And you can see it to where the trees, you got branches probably 12 inches around or more, perfectly curved to the biggest game trails you'll see on the roof. You know, I also tripped out why we found so much leaves and so much stuff. It was almost like, you know, I tripped out originally, like, man, it was almost like somebody put all this shit here and then, you know, packed it down. It was crazy. Like, you know, like they must have never cleaned it in 40 years or something. But no, it's because there was some kind of bedding up there.
Yeah, like a nest or whatever.
Yeah, so they'd have their lookouts there, and then they'd have the youngsters maybe up there, and they'd also have them in some of the buildings and hangars and stuff like that. So it's, you know, it was pretty wild. And I pretty much, part of the aggression, what I figured out was I intruded on their territory. Then, unlike you don't hear about, I was chasing them around. But the only reason that was happening is because it was the pitch black, and I didn't know.
Right.
You know? So the other part, I didn't even finish. So the one night that we actually, we got a good look at it, like, oh shit, you know, some dog-headed thing, you know, excuse the language again, I apologize. But, you know, it screamed, we looked, and then it went not even a quarter of the way down. It threw its head up literally doing about 80 mile an hour. No, like 80 mile an hour plus easily. You know, where it ran, it was a perfect perspective to be able to gauge speed on that thing. You know, and everybody else, when I've talked to them now, you know, it's the same thing. So it threw its head up doing this speed, literally, and it was running alongside of the runway. It wasn't even on the actual tarmac. It was on the dirt that you wouldn't, not the soft field. So it's not even somewhere that, you know, there's gopher. It's not smooth. And it literally looked like it had the best suspension ever. So it throws its head back, not even looking anymore, and it starts screaming. It literally, with its head back, screaming at us, ran all the way the rest of the way down. It literally did it in one breath. It didn't even take a breath. And it just literally just disappeared into the darkness and the brush and everything, you know, just out of sight, just disappeared. But I guess my buddy said same time, there was the ones running. And then the other thing that I forgot about is that they were on the roof at the same time, because I totally spaced it on that. And he was like, yeah, and they were on the roof at the same time. You don't remember? And I was like, oh, shoot, you know, excuse, I almost said a bad word, but, you know, and then it kicked in like, yes, you're right. You know, I forgot all about that. So when the one showed itself, it had others around, and we were pretty much surrounded, you know. Then, you know, me and my girlfriend another time, you know, we were outside smoking, you know, I was smoking and, you know, keeping an eye out, and then I had coughed. And then next thing you know, we hear like next to us, but it just sounded like super fake. Like these things make like bird sound, like anything you could think of. Even like there was peacocks around, they were making like the help, but then it went further because peacocks don't say help me, you know, like randomness, like random. Even there's been times we've heard gibberish. But anyway, like it copied me coughing. So I thought somebody was next to us in the next hangar that was open, because these ones were open, and then further down they have doors. So I go, you know, I pull my weapon and I run at an angle, you know what I mean, across to run out and at an angle so I can see. And as I'm doing that, all of a sudden it was like, doom, doom, doom. And like, it's my bad for that, the noise, but you know, it was just the loudest, like it got up and jumped on the roof before I could even run out there. It was like jumped on the roof, sounded like the place was going to come down. And then I was like, I said something to her that like, to the effect of, you know, I didn't want to harm nobody with the firearm that night, but in different words. And I swear that thing heard that, and it took like 3 steps, and it like literally in 3 steps, it cleared a giant distance and jumped off the back of the damn hangars into the street and like land. You could hear how swiftly it landed and just took off. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was the most insane, you know. So I have so many different ones, you know. And even her, just you know, some months back on the way to work, in between Paris and Hemet, she was coming in between, and one ran across the street on her. She said it almost hit her car. If she had been going a little bit faster, they would have collided. She didn't know, like, she was about to hit it or it was about to hit her. And the way she described it is the same way that I have when I seen it on all fours, because all the 90% of the times I seen them was on 2 legs. I'd never seen them on 4s really, and then I did. You know, I'll tell you that right now. But so she described a buffalo, and then she tried to, like, you know, it looked like a buffalo, you know, straight up. And she said it was getting ready. It ran past, and the freeway was right there because she was getting ready to get on the freeway. And she said, she described, you know how the dirt bikes have the turns? I was like, oh, like a berm. She was like, yeah. She was like, all of a sudden, right before it ran onto the freeway, it was like it hit a berm, and then it took off running down alongside of it, you know. And then she's witnessed some, she from the beginning, and a bunch of times she's seen them with me, you know, a bunch of times. She doesn't like to talk about it. And when she described the one, she drives a 2018 TLX. And it's a pretty good sized car. It's not a limo, but it's definitely not a small car. And she described it as trying to be as big as her car, pretty much. And I was like, no, because I'm thinking like what we've seen is about 10, 11, 10 foot, we've seen bunches of them. So we've seen, 10, 11 foot, smaller ones too, but, all of them are bad, but, that's, the worst to me, and then the cold part is it's not even like a couple of them are that big. No, like I seen a pack of them. That's how big these things were, they're huge.
Right.
So anyway, I started thinking, I guess it is possible, because if you seen it running and it was, stretching out at all, or it had its arms out or its legs back, then yes, it would be every bit as big as your car, then it started kicking in, because before that, I was out here one night and I went to go step into the office to go grab some ice, and I was over in the hangar, and all of a sudden my neighbor's trash can gets thrown, like manhandled, and I'm like, I tried to it scared me, I'm unlocking the doors, this happened, it's pitch black out here, mind you, so I'm like, oh shit, and I turn around to see, and all I see is the trash cans just still flopping around, and nothing. So I'm trying to tell myself, oh, it's the raccoons. It was, the cats, they went to jump in it and knocked it over or something, whatever. Anyway, I was kind of hearing some noises and stuff a little bit, Anyway, I go in, I get ice. I'm coming back out, and then I thought I heard some shit. It almost sounded like, excuse me, I'm really trying. It really sounded like gibberish. Is kind of the only way I can describe it, because, it's where I grew up, it's a very diverse, multicultural area. So there's anything and everything that you can think of, So I've heard a lot of different things, but, this wasn't none of that. Almost like gibberish. I know it sounds really stupid, but, and then I was hearing like it almost sounded like asthmatic bulldogs is the way that I try to describe it to people, like the snorting sounds and everything. So, all of a sudden I start hearing that, and then I heard some screeching, like the screaming, almost screeching, and then almost coyote, like so many sounds I can't even describe. It was like so many different sounds. So I'm like, kind of just really aware. I start walking back. As soon as I pretty much get to the other side, because I had to go from one side all the way to the opposite side, if that makes sense. So literally, as soon as I get to the other side, literally the ground, I swear I cannot make this stuff up, like the ground started shaking. And then, I don't know if you're familiar, Jeff, with the pit bulls and their claws, but they have a certain distinct sound on tile.
Yeah.
And or on, hard surfaces, they have a really cat-like claw. It's a little different than a lot of other dog claws in the way it curves down. Anyway, they have a really just loud sound. All of a sudden, it sounds like, I can't even guess, I don't want to sound stupid. I'm just like, whatever, a bull number, but, 1,500 pound pit bulls out there, on the thing, it sounded ridiculous. Like literally, the ground started shaking. There's all these damn noises going on, screeching noises. And then literally, man, the sound of the nails on the blacktop and the way everything echoes right here, it was literally like almost deafening. Like I just turned, I was already looking out, and I kind of just heard all this. I turned, and literally I see them running out, and it looked like they were chasing like 15 to 20 coyotes. And it was crazy, because it was like they were running the whole time or something, because it wasn't even like, normally you had to see something start and then get up to speed a little bit. No, it was like these things instantly came out at 50, I would say, well over 45, but, probably 50 range on all fours, just running. And the crazy part is you could almost tell that they weren't even they were doing it kind of effortlessly, if that makes sense, I don't think that they ran by me at max speed, if that makes sense.
Right.
And then I'm looking, and I kind of the place has got, it was made of old foam poles, super old, over 100-something-year-old building. So anyway, where the other ones were and the other hangars and stuff were, and they got torn down, there's a phone pole right by the side of my building. Like, this shit all happened so fast. Like, I literally could not open the door because I would have shown light and everything. I'm pretty sure they were aware of me, honestly, to be 100%, you know, and I only had a clip in and a clip in my pocket. That's it, you know, and I have 45, you know, single stack. So it's not something with some crazy capacity, but normally, you know, I believe in good shooting. So you really don't always need, you know, the most rounds if you're going to, you know, be hitting what you need to hit, you know. But in this case, you know, it was useless, literally. It was useless, you know, and dude, it was literally like, it was like a stampede of animals, you know, and then to see them on all fours, at first, I didn't know what I was seeing. I was like, oh shit, you know, even though I knew about what I've been kind of, you know, I kind of figured out what was around here, but I had never seen them on fours, you know, so just, like I don't even know how to explain it, like, it just, it really tricked me for a minute. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, but my mind, I couldn't wrap my mind because, one, it's so far out of the norm just to even realize, like, okay, like, I really am seeing this. Other people keep seeing this too, like, and it's been bunches of friends that have seen these things, you know, and then people in the neighborhood, the damn maintenance guys. So it's like, you know, it was already a hard one, you know, to sit there. It was already a hard pill to swallow, but
right. But with that many people, you've got clarification that there's obviously going. Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, shit like that will test your reality so bad you will think you're insane. You know, I literally did, and you know, like, it messed with me. You know, and then that night it really got me bad because I literally thought we maybe had like 5 or so. Because when I get drawn out a couple times, I would kind of track the sounds because it's so black. You got to rely on all your senses, man. Literally, you know, you got to really rely on senses. You smell, hearing, you know, what you can see, and trying to use it all together. You know what I mean? To gather yourself in that kind of environment. And literally, man, like, you know, get surrounded and you know, like maybe 5 of them. You know, I'm hearing different places, and honestly, when they want to be, they could be quieter than a squirrel, or they could be like a gorilla trying to tear the trees apart, literally, you know? So it's like, you know, you get them pissed off, and you know, the trees look like they're going to break. Like, I've never seen nothing like that. We get Santa Ana winds out this way, and we're talking, you know, 40, 50, 60 mile an hour winds plus sometimes, right? And they don't do what the Dogman does to the trees, you know? Like, they don't do it. But anyway, you know, I'm sorry, I jump all over.
No,
but,
you're fine. You're doing fine.
I have so many damn times, you know, I apologize. So pretty much I ducked behind that pole, and dude, I tried to get as small as I could, and I was just watching them, you know, and they ran by with the damn coyotes. And then I'm like, okay, they went by, you know, and then I go to step back out, and then here they come again. So I couldn't even, it happened again, but from this side, I'm naked. I'm like out there. At least the other side, you know, I could have tucked, and I'm a little bit obstructed, right? And as long as they're running that way, looking that direction, they're not seeing me. But now they're coming back this way, you know, with the coyotes again. So I realized I don't think they're chasing the coyotes. And then the other scary fact is, why were the coyotes doing like 45, 50? You know, that's when I started realizing, like, oh, that's these things' dogs. And then it started kicking in why the coyotes were so brave around here. Because, you know, we've had different places we've lived, you know, and we've had big coyote populations. Like when I lived in Redlands, you know, we'd have, you know, 5 acres worth just orchard. And then, you know, I don't even remember how many acres, probably 30 acres or more. But honestly, I think more than that, because it went all off. And anyway, just the orchard alone, you know, was 5 acres. And we'd get easily 100 coyotes out there. But if them things would see you, they were gone anywhere, you know. But came here, the coyotes were just too brave. They'll come up to you, literally, and you can't chase them off. They're like super brave, you know, almost like they would have rabies, but they don't. But this is why, you know. And then what I started figuring out was, you know, they use them for hunting dogs, you know, and like we were saying too, traveling with them and kind of just different things, you know. But that's definitely a thing, because I've observed that after that time, and then also thinking about the other times that all the coyotes would pop up in Dogman, or these different things. I apologize. What? Oh, I was talking about when they had ran back. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Okay, so like I said to you, I'm nervous and I have so much to say.
Yeah, Ed, you're doing fine, brother.
Okay, so, and then I didn't even get into the numbers, because this is the part that gets embarrassing for me, because I already know in the comments and, just in people's heads, this is the part that's going to make it, not as believable, because I'm already telling you, 10 foot, 11 foot tall, and everybody's used to the Michigan Dogman or the East Coast or Midwest, or these different places where these things are migrating. So you're getting smaller packs. They're not able to have the abundance of food. Mine are staying here. They're living well. They're living too well, apparently. So the packs are ginormous. So that night, I seen at least I kept underestimating on purpose, because it already sounded crazy, but I don't care. If somebody doesn't believe me, I don't give a shit, honestly. But at least probably, well over 70 full figures that I was able to see, like full grown figures. Still can't tell you if they have a tail, though. I've seen a couple times where out in the distance where I might have seen one or two, and might have. I still can't tell you that part. I don't know why. I can track them. I can do all this other stuff, tell you all kinds. I can't tell you that, though. Some of them I kind of tell you, I think I've seen it, but I can't tell you on these big ones. I can't say it's something I paid attention to. Right. And it's so stupid. You would think with the dog-headed creature you would look, but I don't know. I haven't.
While you were talking about that, I was thinking earlier that you had said, there were some that had larger snouts, and then the larger ones had more of a flatter face.
No, opposite. The smaller ones that I seen, like that the more human-looking one that I sent you,
yep.
That guy right there, he's smaller. If you look at all the other ones, the ones that look like the one on your show, that timber wolf, yep. Or like the classic wolf, or like a German Shepherd, yep. No, man, these guys, they got shoulders. Like, if you look into one pictures, like look through again, and you'll see how broad the shoulders.
I'm going to share the pictures in the interview. Is that all right?
Yes. No, yeah, perfect. Honestly, like, all this crap got me in danger, so I'm honestly trying to get it out there as much as possible, because legit, I feel safer, because, then not even just that. Honestly, the other thing was, it's a pretty dangerous and it's a bad situation that I'm in, from multiple angles, so if something were to happen, it's documented, and they're not going to sit there and be like, oh, it's a coyote attack or something. I'm not getting taken down by no damn coyotes. I've been around animals my whole life,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not what happened, or not going to happen. But, so, I just had to, get some of that out, like I said, the threats, and just, once again, I completely understand a lot of it sounds ridiculous, like even before, I would be in your comments always commenting, and always saying hello to everybody,
Well, you've been a subscriber for a while, and, like you and I said, we had talked for a while, and, you've got people out there that think that something sounds ridiculous, but, here we are believing and knowing that there is a bipedal, large dog-like creature running around, but we can't accept the fact that, there may be 70 of them, which doesn't sound, to put this into perspective, like I kind of wanted to touch on something is, when you had shared this with me, and we were talking, they've got a perfect area to hunt, and they have an abundance of food. Like you said, there's boar,
water, everything,
and homeless
shelter.
people. You know.
And then the other thing, my bad, I don't want to cut you off. I
No,
apologize.
it's fine. It's your interview.
If you look into it, there's shit tons of underground tunnels all through here that go from the mountain right here all the way to all over the place. Because I told you, and I'll send you the info too, you know, because I'm trying to share some because I really want people to be careful.
Yeah.
You know, honestly. There's a lot of famous hiking trails in Southern California, and I'm next to one of them. And let me tell you, people go missing, and you know what I mean? Sometimes you'll hear about it. A lot of times you probably won't. And the homeless population, we've literally watched them go. I've seen them disappear from behind my shop, and I'm going to tell you what, I know it wasn't the cops, and I know nothing else happened. I know it was something weird because the cops come and drop them off around here. I was explaining, I don't know. I won't go into that stuff until I'm okay with some of that stuff with you because, you know, and it's not even like I'm going to say anything. I'm speculating. It's 100% facts, man. And
pretty much, I'll just say it for you. Pretty much what you're saying is these people know what's going on. And, you know, it's similar to the Tony Aarons, Amber Miller case in Tennessee where there's a homeless population. The local government knows about it. And they know that there's these creatures living there, and they're hoping that these creatures will just take care of the homeless people because no one's going to say anything about it.
That part right there, you know, perfect John Does and Jane Does right there. So,
yeah.
You know, that's exactly what's going on. And they're fully aware. And anybody that knows the epidemic with the, you know, homeless and all the drug problems and all the stuff that's, you know, like I told you, you know, this was, you know, the meth capital of the world for years and years, the Inland Empire, you know. So we've seen a lot, and it's super bad. It's way worse with this fentanyl than we've ever seen it. You know, these people are all over. It's sad, man. And then it's sad because even though a lot of these people ain't really worth much these days, you know, because they're lost, man. This is a different type of zombie type of person. Like they're nothing there of a person anymore. Most of them, a lot of them, not all, but some are out just because they're down on their luck. And I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the ones that are zombified and permafried, you know?
Right.
But, you know, it's sad because even at that, nobody deserves this. Nobody. And that was the whole thing that bothered me. You know what I mean? And, you know, it just, I don't know how to explain it, man. Like, nobody deserves that. I've never been, I explained it to you, I've never been scared of anything in life. Anybody that knows me, if anybody thinks different, I have a bunch of friends jump in the comments, and I'm pretty sure that everybody will tell you the same shit. You know, I don't play. That's one thing. You know, I'm a peaceful person. I'm a helpful person. I don't bother nobody, but I expect not to be bothered, and I don't stand for any bull, and I'm not afraid of anything. Until a Dogman, I'll be 100. Like, I never knew fear until this, really. You know, I've had some sketchy situations that, you know, okay, that was scary, you know, but this was something else. You know, I've seen people freeze. You know, it's different, you know, and it's something that we're not told about, we're not warned about. So for me, the thought of that shit and going out like that, oh, that's horrible. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So for me, I feel bad. And I don't know if you know, but I've been in the comments for a cool bit of like, they're getting the homeless. Hell,
I've said it. You know, I mean, I literally have said it numerous times in Tennessee, and that's what reminded me of your thing is because there was a subscriber who went down to Tennessee and talked to the homeless population and said, "Hey, these things are going to come out of the wood. Get out of here. Get on your motorcycle." And get out of here before it gets dark because they'll come out of the woods and jack you off your bike. You know?
Yep. Oh, dude, it's like, it's my bad. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, I was just putting some concrete to what you were saying.
Yeah. And the other crazy part is tell me when you've ever seen the homeless. Dude, we had thousands of these guys down here in the river bottom, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me when you have ever seen them with legit wrought iron fences and chain link and barbed wire all wrapped around their shit. Literally fences, man. And then these guys are down there, dude. They got all kinds of weapons, dude. Like, I've had friends get people pulling swords out and people running out with swords and, you know, because, like, it's, it's real popular for everybody to run through the Santa Ana River, and it goes from San Bernardino all the way to Huntington. So it's like everywhere you go, there's people running around the side by sides and the most, but there's homeless populations all along, ridiculous, especially in certain areas like, out here in, Riverside County. It's pretty bad. I assume San Bernardino's not great either, that direction.
Right.
But, so it's just sad, honestly, to me.
And like you said, it's not a way to go. It's regardless of, something bad had to happen to put those people there. And they're still people, even if they're zombified, they're still people. And the fact that the government knows that what they're doing and what's going on, it just proves to the fact that, the government knows they're existing and they're almost helping to keep the existence going.
Oh, totally. And then legit, when I got threatened and everything, they straight told me that they're aware of my problem. I need to get out of here. It's in the thousands, and I need to shut the F up because my family's in danger. I'm in danger, and I need to leave alone, and that they've tracked these things all around me, and that they know that these things are on me, because I'm not just a person that will, I've kind of, well, in the beginning I didn't know, but even after the fact, I kind of got scared, and then was like scared, and then I kind of got tired of being scared, like, different phases.
Right.
And then it just got fed up, and I was tracking these things all over the place, and
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, brother, listen, we're coming up on some time right now. I know that I don't have a lot more recording time, but I wanted to give you a couple minutes. Do you have any parting words to share with everybody before we end the interview? And don't hang up, because I want to talk to you for a few minutes after.
Okay. Yes, definitely. Be aware of your surroundings. Like, really be aware. Be aware of your children. Especially out here, I see so many people with children unattended all the time. I never understood that as a parent. That's not the type of parent I am.
Right.
But especially because you never know, and these hiking trails and everything else, just always be cautious. The other thing is, don't listen to these people that tell you about don't bring a firearm and all this other stuff. Honestly, if it wouldn't be for that, I probably wouldn't be giving an interview, honestly, because these things are fully aware of what they are. They know the word. They know what a firearm is. And the other thing that people leave out is, even if you're not pulling it out, they know you have a firearm on you because they can smell the powder. They can smell the gun oil. Police dog can smell but they can smell, gunpowder and stuff like that on you. So, just even having it on you, they know, unless it's never been oiled, never been cycled, and it's alive, and then no, so it's just, what I would say is just be careful out there. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know about, and even the crawlers, I have a whole bunch more stories even about the crawlers. So whenever we have time, possibly, so it's just, there's a lot of stuff out there. And in California, especially Southern California, it's a lot worse than anybody would think. Honestly, I never would have believed in any of this stuff myself. And if I wouldn't have gone through this, honestly, I wouldn't have believed it. My friend seen it on my roof, froze in front of me and everything before we got a real good look at it. And I finally accepted it, right? And he froze, and I didn't believe him. I felt like the biggest, a-hole in the world, man, especially after.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, just always got to be aware,
Absolutely.
And if you get a feeling that something's watching you, you're probably being watched, so just be mindful, pay attention, and know that these things are out here in numbers, so be careful.
That was the first interview I did with Eddie. He shared some of his photos, which were in the upload right there. Then he reached out because we had talked a little bit about the homeless people in California, and actually the conversation got brought up because we were talking about where Tony Aarons and Amber Miller had gotten savagely attacked in Cott County, Tennessee, Jimtown Road. There was a homeless encampment at the end of that road, and we talked a little bit about how the folks that were unfortunate and living outside in this area of Jimtown Road had knowledge of these creatures, firsthand knowledge. And it was almost as if Cott County politicians and Newport politicians pushed these folks down to the end of Jimtown Road, and almost like here you go, Dogman, here's some dinner. And we started to talk a little bit about that, and then he brought up how the homeless population in San Bernardino is going through the same thing. So this is that one. Tonight I have Eddie back with us. Eddie, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jeff, man. Thank you for having me back, and thanks for giving me a platform and everybody else, to voice this kind of stuff, and not look like just straight lunatic. So I appreciate that.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure. And I truly, I learn a lot from you guys. Each time someone new comes on or shares something new, it's just more information that I didn't have. So I appreciate it on your end too. When we last had you on, you talked about some property that your family has a business out of, around an airport, dogmen going out and around in the homeless area and stuff like that. There was some stuff you didn't touch on that you did want to touch on this time. So yes. I'm going to give you the mic, and if I have any questions, I may interrupt you, but yeah, so the mic is yours, my friend. And don't forget, you had something to say about the crawlers too, I believe.
Yeah, okay. Definitely tap in and remind me at some point so I don't run us out of time.
Absolutely. So the mic is yours, my friend.
Okay, once again, everybody, I'm sorry for being scattered. I'm a smart person, I don't think I'm the smartest, but I'm all right, but I am very ADHD, and I have a lot to get out, and I'm not a public speaker. It's never been my thing. So, I apologize ahead of time. But yeah, now I'm over here drawing a blank. But
that's all right.
Did you have any questions or anything?
Nope.
That way we get started.
No, you wanted to talk about a little bit about what has been going on just since the interview and stuff like that. If you want to start with that.
Yeah. So I went down, right after that. I had some guys come in that wanted to do some investigating as well. So we went down to the area kind of where I went and found a bunch of tracks, the first area. And they had pretty much moved all the homeless. There went from thousands of homeless, right, to where literally when we went there, I think we found 3 homeless people, 2 of which had only been there a couple of days, and 1 that had only been back down in there a week. But it was funny because the first person that we interviewed, pretty much confirmed that that they're having problems. First thing I asked is, have you seen the things down here, heard about people disappearing? And he said, after hearing about it, I've seen them. And he proceeded to tell us that one night, I guess not too far back, that there was a few of them right there, and all of a sudden they heard something running through the water, and they looked out. And I was like, oh, so you seen the dog-headed things? Yes. He said, no, it looked like a cat. And I'm like, what? I wasn't really thinking, but I'm like, okay, and then the other thing he started, he went a little further, but I'm trying to think of everything, but I want to get out a couple of things. The other thing I asked him is, have you seen the helicopters like the Blackhawks and stuff like that down here or around the area? And he proceeds to tell me, yes, man, as soon as it gets dark, a lot of the helicopters come out. The other thing is the drones come out when it gets dark. The drones are flying around here a lot.
Wow.
And so he couldn't, like that, I could have sworn, I've seen something, but I didn't know. But hearing that from him kind of gave me the confirmation, like, oh, yeah, I thought I spotted a drone or 2 a couple of times, but we do see the helicopters nonstop. The other thing that was just a trip is, to get that many, going from, well over 1,000 people in that area, it seemed, to all of a sudden, we only come across 3 people walking a few miles.
Yeah,
the other was they plowed a bunch of area. I guess they're going to be re-putting a bridge or something kind of in the area as well. But like, dude, they plowed the shit out of the bushes and a lot of the stuff around. And I don't know how much further out that they're doing. What else?
What did that guy say? Like, can you kind of, like, what was his, like, what was he saying to you exactly? Like,
he was pretty much talking about like how that had happened, and then he gave some stuff, but he didn't give too much detail. Is the problem?
And he had only been there for like a couple of days.
Yes, he had been there for, I think that guy, I would have to ask one of the other guys that was there, my buddy, but I want to say he had been there only like a week, but I think he had already been there before. The other thing too is I was trying to ask him, like it kind of seems like you guys have been getting forced down this way for a long time before you got kicked out of here. It seemed like everybody was kind of being forced that way. And he was like, no, well, we weren't forced, but, we just kind of went on our own. But I'm like, well, you're kind of being forced because you guys can't be in the city anywhere. They've been kicking you out of the city and all the areas out of there, right? Well, yeah, and they've been kind of pushing you down this way. And then this is the area they were allowing you to stay in. So in a way, you guys were being pushed,
right.
And he was like, well, if you say it pretty much that way, then yes, but it's not rocket science, man. Like, if you can't stay here and the police are pushing you down further and further and further, then they might not physically be moving you. Don't get me wrong. I've seen, like, it's messed up. There's a lot of gang politics and a lot of stuff out in California in certain areas. So
right.
In this area where we're at, it's would be a Mexican neighborhood right here, right? And there's a lot of, still tensions between Mexican and black. It's bull, but there's, for no reason, people are still programmed wrong. Right. So what happens here, and what really lets me know, is because right here, they always purposely drop a lot of black inmates off right here. Why the heck would you do that into a neighborhood that is pretty much dangerous for them to be in? It doesn't make sense,
No,
or the fact that you go in further and you see, like, there's just proof everywhere. You see people walking around in hospital gowns, and then when the hospitals get tired of dealing with these people, they'll drop them out. So then it's the next county or the next hospital's deal, So it's I don't know. It's just sad all the way around.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the politics of inner city and what's been going on for years.
Yes, yeah, totally. And I don't think it's ever going to stop, No. But the other thing that happened is we had talked to one lady, but it's sad because the one dude was pretty sound mind, but you could tell, you could see signs that, he probably did something, and there's nothing wrong with that, whatever, to each their own. I'm not judging anybody.
Right.
I seen somebody in the comments last time getting offended, and I wanted to, let them know, we weren't saying anything wrong towards that. Where it's
you
actually
weren't being judgmental. Yeah, you were not judgmental in any way. You were just bringing up the fact that people have addiction. Unfortunately, addictions, it's
a serious problem.
Yeah, but there was I didn't get anything from you, on that way. You weren't disrespectful at all. Yeah, it's on them. They're soft-skinned. Don't worry about that.
But, so we interviewed, that guy was really sound mind. Then, the other person we seen didn't want to talk. And then the last one was a lady. She was really out there. She was really, really out there. Mm-hmm. She went to try to show us where a skull was at that they had come across, but she was just kind of couldn't keep track of where. She was a little bit out there. Right. But one thing, like, don't get me wrong, even when these people are super out there, it's just like with an urban legend or a myth or anything. There's always you got to take it with a grain of salt, but there's always going to be something there. You know what I mean? Something. And the one thing she was telling us is that they had found 15 females in the one area right by there. And then another, I don't remember, I don't want to lie, but I want to say another 2 and another 5 or 4 in another area. Like all close by, but like 15 of them kind of in one area they found the remains. Once again, I really have to do some more research on that to see, but it very much seems believable, and I don't know why all these people keep telling me about all these bodies, and it doesn't seem that any of them have anything to gain from this, or we didn't really lead them in that direction, because sometimes in questioning, you can kind of lead people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was leading the questioning, because I try to do the opposite when I'm doing this, because I don't want you to answer the answers that I'm kind of leading. I'm not trying to lead you down the road to get a certain answer. I'm trying to get the honest truth out of some shit to see what's really going on, because that's the only way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that. And then once again, we have somebody else volunteering information. And there was a few witnesses around at the time. Like I said, 2 investigators from up north. I'd like to say thank you, Shane, or what is the name? My bad. I am so sorry. I want to say Shane.
Yeah.
I have to look again. I'm horrible with names. I apologize. But we took them out and showed them a few areas. The other thing is when I went to the second area.
Subs from the channel, Matt, you guys hooked up with some other subscribers?
Oh, no, some other guys. Actually, I think he might be a subscriber. I think he did comment in the comments last time that they were coming down to help.
Okay.
And they were coming out to check out. But pretty much, I already know the problem. I just was happy to be able to have some other people and try to at least show some evidence. The only thing that sucked is with all this stuff going on here and everything that's going on, you could definitely tell they were pushed out of the area some. And then when I went down to the second area where I got all the photos and I was finding them with the young and everything, like I tried to not really approach that area too far up. So that's why a lot of my pictures might be from a distance on some things and stuff like that. But once again, you're not going to go approach young. So I took them over to this area, and we were finding, gigantic scat, like huge. You'd find coyote right next to it, and then some stuff that pretty much, we'll put it like this. I'm trying to YouTube friendly. If a person did that, they would be going to the hospital, and even if they made it that far, they would probably bleed out, and stun us. And there's definitely not an animal around here that leaves anything around that size, and it was everywhere around there. And then it'd be right next to the coyotes. The other thing was, okay, maybe it was homeless. No, because 1, it was too big.
Right.
2, it had the same little seeds that the coyote scat had in it. Okay. So you can see it's along the similar diet, and I'm going to go back and gross, and I can't believe I'm even saying it, but I'm going to go back and retrieve some just because it sounds nasty, but it's, should be some kind of DNA, and at least if we can get it to the right place, at least be able to figure out diet. And once and for all, like, okay, is there any signs that there's people in there? Because I would like to think, that's what's going on, but there's, we don't know everything that runs around.
Right.
I do think, just from everything I've experienced and everything going on, I'm like 99% sure, they snatch people up and stuff. But at the same time, I need that last 1% to really be conclusive to the point to because it would be, it'd be wrong to judge something and think that something's, and it's not, and then have people trying to hate, hunt, or kill, if that's not the case. But, I'm pretty sure, I think any of us know it's not something you want to approach or deal with like that. But the fact of, are they hunting people or are they not?
Yeah.
That's stuff for me. And I'm 99% sure, to be honest, 98, 99% sure.
I'm there with you on that one, especially with the homeless and how when you last talked about it, it makes a lot of sense to.
Too much sense. Too much.
It's like, and unfortunately, they are intelligent creatures, but they don't look at humans like we look at humans. This is just food for them.
Yeah.
They see.
It's like,
a large herd of humans, they're like, hey, we just hit,
dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dinner bell's going off real quick. Yes, man. Yes.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
So, I'm pretty sure on that.
yeah.
And
Now, your crawler experience that you wanted to kind of touch on, what happened with that? Where was that? And was that anywhere near this area too, or no?
Oh, dude, same spot. Just no, the dogs weren't around that day.
Okay.
Because that's the one thing. I've kind of heard that those things don't kind of be in the same areas, but I can kind of confirm that because it makes sense. Because I was in the comments before trying to ask like, what has 3 toes or what has this and what clicks. I apologize. I was way back. I was saying that the Dogmen were making these weird clicking sounds. No. I was totally wrong. That is not. So a lot of the times I didn't know what the hell was going on, and you figure Dogman is hard enough to swallow. Like I didn't know nothing about that shit. I was sorry,
right?
But that one was a hard one. But then to think that there was other stuff, but then legitly, I would feel like you would feel something because I won't lie, the Dogman just gives you the scariest feelings, and just I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know if it's just instinct. It's instinct and a projection, like some kind of, I can't all the way say, but what I do know is the feelings that come along with them is something different. But the other things would feel scary, but it wouldn't, it felt different. It felt different. Like you could feel you're being watched and there was weird stuff, but it wasn't the same. So a lot of the times I didn't really catch. And I won't lie, there was a few times that I could have sworn, you see something real lanky and stuff, but once again, I'm barely digesting Dogman. So I wasn't ready for, and then, and if you act now, I wasn't expecting none of that crap, that was wild. So a lot of it, I was just passing off and thinking, okay, that was some kind of weird Dogman thing or something, I guess, I don't know. But then eventually I started hearing about, these things being different. Does that make sense? Because I didn't know. I had no clue. Like I said, I didn't know about a damn Dogman, much less, a crawler or, a yard tool, whatever you want to call it. I didn't know about none of this stuff.
Right.
So
what was your encounter with the crawler? What did you see?
That one picture I took, I was seeing something in the tree, and I actually got it in a few more photos too, like moved out a little bit more, and then with the head turned, because right there in the one picture, it's just the top of him popping out. And what happened is I was hearing, I would hear the clicking. That's why I kept asking, what does the clicking? Because it almost sounded like a bat, right?
Yeah.
Like almost like the clicking like a bat. Pretty much what I figured out is 100% subterranean, 100% they're using echolocation. I heard somebody try to say something about those things have good vision. Bull.
Yeah, I don't think they have good vision at all.
Yeah, bull. They use echolocation. So that's completely false what they're saying.
Well, we don't know. I mean, that's you got to think.
Yeah, I get you. But honestly, I look at stuff. Don't get me wrong. This is out of the realm of science, but I look at a lot of this stuff scientifically. Right. First the Dogman was wild at some of the things that they displayed or some of the observations I made, but then everything that I seen, I can attribute to different animals and different things do it. From the bioluminescence, dude, we get that blue algae that comes in, right? You got fungi, mushrooms that glow. Yep. You got you guys on the East Coast, you guys got what? Lightning bugs.
We have mushrooms that glow. We have fungus that we have the same.
We have sea creatures, land creatures. We have chameleons. Chameleons can blend against their background. Guess what? Octopus is one of the best blending animals on the planet, but it doesn't stop there. There's many animals that do these things. So for me, I look at it from, and I guess I try to be open, but to a point, I guess we all have our small bias. And for me, it's scientifically what I can look at, what I can compare. To me, that's the data I'm looking for. So when I look at certain things, I'm not looking at it from a feeling. And that's also why I think it helps too, because I look at an issue instead of from the inside and just through my perspective. I look around at different angles, you know. In this community, that doesn't work because if a dog man, his hand structure can't do it, he can't throw rocks, and instantly you say something like that, they don't want to hear it. Or you bring in that they have a chameleon-like ability because this person had only heard about them being solid, had only seen one looking solid for some reason. So they're not going to understand that, and they're already going to put it out. I'm sorry, you know me, ADD.
No,
but,
you're fine.
So that night I was hearing all the clicking sounds again, but it's not only just echolocation, it's also some type of communication, because I got the picture of the one and I was kind of seeing that, but there was clicking along the bushes. So that's the other weird thing is I do believe that sometimes these things, I don't think that they're just solitary creatures. I believe that they also travel with each other sometimes, because there's been, then once because I already kind of started figuring it was something like that, and kind of from what I seen, but it took a second again. Once like I said, I didn't know about a dog man. And then once I figured that out, I didn't know about other stuff. So I kind of figured it along there, but then it started kicking in once I started listening to your show, really your show, a couple other places too, but you've been one of the main, there's been other guys that put it out almost as like a creepy type thing. But as far as information and accounts, and there's only a few places that really have put out info on those. Right. So kind of hearing some of that and realizing, okay, I'm not, crazy, because at least with the dog man, I've had lots of witnesses. Even last time I had people jumping into comments, and I have a lot more friends that are just afraid to speak out, but I had people jumping in there,
Right.
So it's not like I was alone. But with the crawler, this was something by myself, and then, so I was hearing the noises, and I kind of looked, and I knew I seen something, man. I knew it. But the thing that sucks is it's so hard to see. My camera sucks. So it's, you get the pictures that you get.
Yeah.
Aren't the greatest, but you can clearly see the black eyes. You can see something pale as hell in the black of the night, the opposite of the dark dog man, and sorry, there I go with the I apologize.
Ah, you're fine, brother. You're fine. You're doing great. So this location, was that by the location of your job site where you work out of, or no?
You're talking about the crawler?
Yeah, or was this by that park, by the park that you had mentioned?
Right here with the crawler, no, this was literally like probably 30 foot away from my door.
Okay,
in the
wow.
tree. Yeah, same thing with the one pictures of the dog man from another night that's kind of blurry because it's black as heck. So I had even posted it, and then somebody else had changed the exposure or whatever. I was explaining to you, I'm not a photographer. I'm not somebody that's good with computers or any of this crap. You need your car tuned. I got you. Right. But that's it. I've just had to learn certain things that go along with my, some of the stuff that I've done for work. But as far as, any of that other stuff, totally illiterate, man. So somebody else had even lightened the one, and then you're able to see that. But dude, most of the first pictures that I was taking around here and getting from different nights were 30 foot away from me in my trees, because I know the other reason I was doing it is because it's weird. It's like you want to know that your mind's not playing tricks on you. You're really seeing something, and it's pitch black, but sure enough, where I'm looking, where I'm getting the pictures at, there's something in the pictures, so I think too, for my own self to know, and then also to try to show people, like half the people, nobody around here would believe me barely, if I just started rambling about some stuff. But at least two of the neighbors here, I've been able to show. One of the maintenance, actually two of the maintenance guys, three of them, I was able to kind of show some stuff because they had told me about, claw marks up high in the trees, and you could tell something was getting down and shredding shit, and, stuff like that. But, for me, it's just been, without getting some kind of pictures, Like, I don't know. I had to. I know it sounds kind of stupid. And I was always in your comments and before, and even on groups and Facebook, never pick up a camera, keep your hand ready by your firearm and this and that. That's, I gave props to people, anybody that's brave enough to pick up a camera instead of being ready. Like that's some courage right there.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I always advised everybody not to do. And I guess I got so desperate, I went against my own advice, honestly. And it just got to the point where it was like, I was just angry and I just wanted to prove, that's how I ended up tracking him to the other area,
Right. Right.
And
now,
just
really quick, back to the homeless situation. Where that is located, where did you ask any of the people that were there, the couple of people that were there, like where the other people went, what happened to them?
Yeah, they just been pushing them out. Somebody else, one of my off-roading friends, was telling me that that they had seen some populations of like further down the Santa Ana, but I don't, I can't say personally because I hadn't seen, but it's a pretty reliable source, so I don't, wouldn't make something up. The other thing that happened is he doesn't come down in this area because he had this experience with us. He's one of the people that commented last time.
Okay.
He actually got chased by something a little further down somewhere as well just recently. I'm going to talk to him tonight and get a little bit more on what the heck happened with that, but pretty much he wasn't out running them in his Razor.
And he got chased while he was in a Razor?
Yes, it wasn't out running them.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm going to get a little bit more details on that tonight. Yeah. But he knows better. I'm pretty sure he'll be in the comments, but he even admits, he doesn't come around this range, and he tells people, his friends not, when they try to go around here, he doesn't want to come around here.
Wow.
I guess, and I'll get the location and I'll get the info on that, and I'll get some more stuff,
Okay.
So that's the other thing I've been trying to do is just talk with more and more, the other guy too that does the maintenance. I'm going to have him set up some interviews for me for a couple of the people.
Yeah, I'd like to sometime hear a little more, if you could, about that one homeless man that you spoke with, about it not almost being more feline like. You had shared with me privately something that your friend had heard on your property, or I guess was on your property when you guys were out running after these things before you even knew what they were. And he had said he had heard it almost sounded like a mountain lion, but it was not.
No, that was recent.
That was recent. Okay. You want to share that with us?
Yes. Okay. So after I kind of received a little, some threats and a few things, I was kind of really stressed out. I'd already knew I was into some shit, and it was just a long story. I already knew, and then I contacted and then got the pretty much confirmed what I was already knowing, so anyway, I have a couple people that I can consider family, that are my friends, and I reached out to a couple of them and just let them know, hey, I'm in trouble. I kind of got myself into some stuff, and, I just wanted to tell you guys, thank you type of deal,
Right.
And they all popped up that night, all of them tried to pop up. So, and I wasn't trying to have nobody pop up, but they all popped up, so they were out here trying to, look out for me and, look out with me. And the first one, he went to leave. I forgot what time. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I can get him to jump in the comments and correct me, but we'll say 12 range, maybe slightly before that, but I want to say maybe 11, 12. He goes to leave. He gets out the first gate. He starts going through the second, and something screamed at him like a mountain lion, like a pissed off mountain lion, but a lot bigger, not the size. Something, it sounded a lot bigger.
Okay.
And then during that, we're inside, and then we didn't know because he was going to call us and tell us, but I guess he just kind of, got freaked out, took off, and forgot to even say anything, I guess. So, fast forward, and we're out there, and then all of a sudden, my other two friends are like, hey, my one friend, Sam, he's like, hey, the tree is moving out there all crazy, like far off in the distance, right? And I can't see. I'm super night blind, so that far off, I'm screwed. That's why I ended up chasing shit I shouldn't have been. Excuse the language, but what's it called? So they're saying the tree. They're trying to show me I can't see it. My other buddy Josh, he's seeing the tree go crazy, and they're describing, once again, kind of what I seen before on almost like some Jurassic Park type stuff, Yeah. And then maybe 20 minutes later, we're out there and we kind of heard something, and we're kind of looking around, and you kind of, we've been getting the feeling you're being watched. You get that watched feeling. You get that, really bad right here. All of us are feeling it. And then all of a sudden, we all hear the mountain lion sounding noise. But once again, it was huge sounding. Like, he even had a little bit of bass to him to a point, like you can hear the size. Like, this is a large animal. And it's not like this is my first time being around a mountain lion. Off the recording, I embarrassingly made the noise for Jeff, what I will not do on you. I'm not going to do here. But, that was pretty much the noise, like a cat noise, a pissed off mountain lion noise, if you ever heard one. I'm pretty sure you guys could Google it if not, but an exact cat noise. And then, talking to the homeless guy and then having him describe this cat thing that came out. Then I start thinking and really looking at that picture, like, that's not more that it's more human-like because it doesn't have the large snout. No, that is more feline. That is a dang feline. And that's why we heard the dang, the noises that we heard. And I know there's going to be probably people out there that don't believe me or whatever. I know it sounds ridiculous, Dogman, Crawler, and Catman now, but it is what it is, like, if the people that can see that picture, go back and look at the other episode.
The cat thing is not new. There's been multiple sightings of almost a feline-like creature. A couple of people had spotted something and it seems like southern United States, closer to Mexico, has had these experiences. There was one like kind of right on the border of Texas and Mexico. Your experience. There's also like the beast of Bladenboro, which some people say may be a dogman, while other people say it seems like it's a large cat. So it's not far-fetched and it's not really new. But that just made me think of it because, the few sightings of these things I've heard have been in southern America, not the South, but closer to Mexico, like right there.
And then honestly, we're not too far off. I could, hit Mexico in a couple different areas a few hours out from here, literally, like, and be deep into that shit. So it's not too far off. Down here, we got an ocelot population, which is supposed to be, people talk, well, it's only native to Mexico. Man, we had them right here in the Santa Ana River back in the day when I was a kid, man. Yeah. Like, come on. Yep. So it's not too, far off, know. But, and then the other crazy thing is when I caught that picture, it was over there chilling with the Dogman. That's why I thought it was some kind of more humanistic looking, Dogman. But, just after the noises we heard, a couple other things, it's that's what it is. That's what it is, and then really looking at it, because I thought that when I first looked at it, they kind of look cat-like, but I didn't picture a cat running with the Dogman, and I kind of heard a little bit here and there, on the hunt, trying to figure this stuff out online later, but, not enough to really, I didn't put merit into it at that point, But once again, crazy part is that was taken right next to the pictures of, by where I was getting Dogman at, and there's tons of them. So it's not like, them and the crawlers where you're not going to see them at the same times. No, apparently. And the other thing, remember we were talking about, I was like, no, the flat face ones are a little smaller.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess they're a little smaller than the Dogman. Still nothing you would want to run into. You know,
Right.
I would, if I had to gauge, I would still say, you know, 7 foot, possibly 8 foot tall creature. You know, you don't want to mess with it. You know, you wouldn't want to mess with a mountain lion. Shit, we have bobcats out here, and guaranteed, you know, a bobcat will tear a person up. You wouldn't want to mess with that little cat. That thing would give you a bad day.
Yeah.
So, you know, 7 foot tall plus cat, man, you know, once again, ranks up there with the Dogman. Like, you know, I don't want any part of that.
Right.
But yeah, it was, you know, pretty amazing to figure that out. And then just different.
Yeah.
And then once again, it just adds more what the hell is going on with this place, because it's like how, you know, I get it because of the river here and then just everything. It's a path that things travel through right here. But like, I still can't just grasp that why there is just, you know, so many things. And I'm really hoping, Jeff, I don't find anything else, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then that night, and then we want to talk about a crawler experience. Well, I just seen one again the other night when we got back from doing the when I took the guys out, right? Later that night, I was out there smoking a cigarette, and I have like these bright LEDs because for Dogman, like, put up bright lights, super bright. You can even get LED lights that are way brighter than your old school incandescents, and they don't waste up a ton of energy. Invest. If you have a Dogman problem, invest. Put up cameras, all that kind of stuff. It sounds stupid, but you can't just do it straight up. They know what that is. They know what a gun is. It's going to sound retarded, but you got to do it like you're not doing it. You got to act like you. It sounds really retarded because you wouldn't think you would have to trick an animal, but they're not animals. So the thing is you got to kind of outsmart on that. You got to kind of try to catch them by surprise. You know, act like you're not really recording them, but record them. Does that make any kind of sense? You know, or even start out in another area and just kind of play dumb and, you know, kind of like you would with the kid, like, I don't see you.
Right.
You know,
right.
that's, yeah, it sounds retarded, but I guarantee people that are having these problems, you try to do something like that next time one of them pops out. I'm not telling anybody to take pictures. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying an off chance that anybody is trying to capture these, that's the way you want to do it, right. You know.
So what happened with the crawler experience?
Well, we had gotten back, and then after, we were having a show that day too over here. So after everything cleared out and it was pretty late, I would say maybe like 1 or 2, I went out there to keep an eye because there was still a few cars out here. And I was just, you know, went out to keep an eye, and I was smoking, and the light, you know, like the cigarette goes into light, you kind of see a little bit of white, but I blew out, and then all of a sudden I looked over, and then I seen, at first I was like, a person, and I went to double take and look, and I'm like, oh, a person, you know. So anytime I see a person, even on the street right there, I'm always paying attention because they'll try to break into the gate, stupid stuff. Anyway, so I go to look, and I'm looking, I'm like, yeah, a person, you know, and then I start noticing, like, wait a minute, like, this person is pale. But I only got maybe 2 seconds of it because, like, where I was at, I only got to see it for maybe like 2 seconds, and then it walked behind the building. But I looked over, and you know, honestly, once again, my brain doesn't, like, I guess I'm retarded on that part, but even though seeing stupid stuff, my brain still always tries to rationalize. So at first, I really thought it was a person for part of the time, and then I really kicked in, like, oh no, like, this thing is pale, like, it's white, and it's pitch black right here. You can kind of see, and it almost looked like, you know, it was walking leaned over, almost like it was trying to walk on all fours, and it almost looked like, because at first, when I first seen it, it looked like, you know, kind of a person or something, but then kind of as it was getting by, it kind of looked like, and it wasn't going all super fast or nothing either. It was just walking at a good pace. You know, I'd say like a person power walking maybe, but it wasn't running or hauling butt or nothing. It was, you know, just a walking pace. But by the time I kind of could get a little bit better of the view and kind of seeing it, almost looked like it was kind of on all fours. And it just, you know, they have some obnoxious arms. They really do. There's been a couple times that I kind of before seen something, but thought, I'd seen a weird Dogman or something like that. But this time I kind of got a little bit better view of the arms, and then the arms are like, definitely like, I would say way, way past the knees, pretty much almost to shin area, I guess. I could be wrong by, give or take, and then, a few inches either which way. But just abnormally long. And once again, anybody that's seen them, they just look sickly and brittle. Like there's not really, they look so fragile. I don't even know how they really are sometimes, because they look so fragile. They look like they're just going to break just walking, like I'm sure you've seen plenty of pictures of them, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, they're fragile. They're just fragile looking. And I would say, if I had to guess size, maybe 6 foot range, maybe a little bit more. But once again, it's kind of hard to gauge, because he was like, it almost looked like a 90. He was almost bent, almost in almost a 90 degree. I would say a little up from that, more past the 45 though. He was definitely bent more than a 45. And I can't all the way tell you that he was walking with his hands, but it really seemed, because it's too dark towards the ground right there, so I couldn't see the hands, but I'm pretty sure at, a pretty good angle, he was walking on his hands and walking on all fours. And he was going, like I said, at a good pace. It wasn't running or nothing, but it's pitch black. And then the other thing that happened is we had put a gate around the other field that's behind it, because the property is also owned by the airport as well. So that part has also been fenced in. So before, like, something like that would just be able to walk through, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure they can jump and do some wild stuff, especially the way you catch them in the trees. It's almost like, it's weird. It almost reminds me of a fast sloth, and a skinny one, like just the way, like, they're not very agile looking on the ground. And I'm pretty sure that, I haven't seen one all the way running or nothing, so I can't really speak on that. But what I can speak on is knowing how they are in the trees, and they seem very at home in the trees for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't know how much info was there, how much it helped. Like I said, I kind of caught on to these guys late, and that's why I had so many questions. And then they kind of just figured out what happened. The other thing we had talked off air, for sure these are, definitely some kind of, looking at it scientifically, this is my opinion. I don't want to state it out there in solid facts or whatever. But like I was telling you, definitely a subterranean creature.
Yeah.
And then definitely, because anything that you look at that goes into cave systems and stuck under there with no light, they typically don't have pigment, they don't have vision, and they usually have to have some kind of way of getting around. Yeah. And then these things ain't out here sounding like bats and making those clicking noises for no reason. I think that they communicate somewhat like that too, probably some other ways, yes. But more or less, it's like an echolocation. That's why we started getting into before is, I really don't think they have the greatest vision, in my opinion, but any subterranean animals or anything else, isn't really going to. And once again, in nature, we can look at many traits of the Dogman, many traits that a crawler might display, and see different types of animals that display this. So it's nothing out of the norm.
Yeah, that's why I did a scientific breakdown of like crawler sightings about 6 months ago, and stated that, my theory was they were subterranean. Obviously, there's been new studies found with like they're finding new things all the time underground that lack pigment. There's fish that are almost a white color that live in river systems in the caves that have no sight and are white. And I agree with you 100% on that.
Even deep down, look at deep down in the ocean, pretty much anywhere that there is no light, you're getting stuff like this. There's no reason for pigment. There's no reason for these things. Even in people, we can look at it depending on, where people are from. Generally, if you pay attention to environment and what they look like, there's a lot of things there that you can sit there and figure out why they're like that. It's not, once again, it's just simple stuff we've known, so, and I don't think anything cryptid is simple. I'm not going to put it like that, but a lot of these things are explainable. The thing that I think trips people out and makes them really go down the spiritual thing, which I'm not saying that's not a thing, because I don't ever want to offend anybody's beliefs or anything like that. I'm very open-minded. I'm just saying from my viewpoint, I guess, if I seen something that was a chameleon, glowing eyes, doing all this other crazy, I would think it was something too.
Yep.
And then we also try to rationalize everything with what we already know. So, we're not going to, like, I don't know how to explain it. We're not, if we don't know about something, we're just going to rationalize it with the next thing. So some people are going to, you get hellhounds. Oh, it was a demon. It had glowing eyes. It did, even the girl I was dating, she thinks it's a demon. I can't not tell her otherwise.
Well, you don't know if it's otherwise. So
yeah, well, yeah, that too. But I'm just saying,
it's all theory. There is no scientific backing.
No. So. And once again, this is, observation, my speculations, my opinion, and it's not in concrete. I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong and change my findings, and that's, and honestly, I feel like that's how this community has to be.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have to be very open-minded in this field.
Yeah, because don't get me wrong, there's a science belongs in this, and even spirituality and different things. And even if we want to venture as far as even some of the ET stuff's got to go. Because why are people seeing orbs in certain areas? Is it that, it's some kind of ET creation? Or is it that the ETs are interested in studying them like they've done us? Who knows?
Yep.
So all of this is very important, and all of it goes together. And it's just pulling out the data, being open-minded enough to know that we don't know everything. And just because the next man's fighting or findings, kind of contradict some of the stuff that we might think, does that mean we have to throw all ours away? No. That just means we need to recalibrate and rethink. That's it.
Yep. I say it every day, my friend. Hey, we're coming up on time right now. I want to thank you for coming back. Do me a favor, don't hang up. Is there anything that you'd like to say by ending this?
Yes. I just wanted to add to the safety thing. And last time what I said, I didn't want anybody, because I was trying to shorten everything and I was nervous. But the one thing I didn't get out is, be safe. Keep your firearm near you. I hope I can say that. But the one thing is you never point it at these things. You never do that. They are aware of what it is. You only do that if the situation is, oh, shit. Same thing with the people. You never do that. So same kind of deal. That and, just once again, like I try to tell everybody, be mindful. I wish I was making this shit up. I wish I was crazy. I wish a lot of things. I wish I didn't see them, but it's out there. They're out there. Who knows what else? So just be mindful of your surroundings. Pay attention to your situations. Be aware. Always be looking around, and maybe look into areas like if you're a camper and you're not going to stop, or you're a hunter, maybe look into these different areas and make sure that you might not go into stuff. And then the other thing I'm going to try to do is get you some pictures over too of different things to look out for, like little hunting blinds and little structures that they do, and just different things, so that way at least people can kind of identify certain signs. That way if you get in an area, but pretty much, just be safe, people. Please just be safe, and please don't go out, because we talk about this. If you know where these areas are, please don't go out looking. Realistically, it's not something you want to do, and I'm not trying to be responsible. I would have never came out and said this if I thought people would be out there trying to get themselves hurt. So just please be safe, everybody. Please be safe, and you guys have a blessed, great one.
And there you have it, folks. I do hope you all enjoyed this early morning, middle of the night bonus as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is, after all of your support that helps this channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and our friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.